Hi, I'm Mr. Movie Mountain, and we're here today to talk about M. Night Shyamalan's latest movie, Trap. Now, in today's video, I wanted to try something a little bit different because this movie has received high praise as well as exasperated criticism. We're going to be looking at it through the lens of a Letterboxd reviewer. This video will contain spoilers for the movie Trap, and with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. The first review comes to us from podcaster Sean Fennessy, who says, "Incredible addition to the Father of a Daughter cinematic canon." The next review shares a similar sentiment by YouTuber Patrick Willems. M. Night is, 1, clearly a fantastic dad, even if based on this movie he gets scared of maybe not being a good dad, but dude, it's okay, I think you're great. 2, a wonderful genius for realizing how great my boy Josh can be, especially when weaponizing his inherent nice Midwestern energy. Anyway, Trap is a delightful time at the movies. Both of these interviews highlight how Trap is definitely the girl dad movie of the summer.
Yeah. Hashtag girl dad.
You find yourself in this awkward position almost of rooting for a serial killer, which doesn't feel right. And at times you're more afraid that he's going to let down his daughter, Riley, than get caught by the police. I saw a metaphor broadly for fatherhood in here where you have multiple sides of yourself that you're trying to cater to while also not letting your family down. And it speaks to the precarious nature of finding a work-life balance. But it just so happens that this metaphor is told through the eyes of a serial killer, which is just so wacky. Also, this movie really lets Josh Hartnett shine. He's super believable as the corny dad who loves his family and is a little bit awkward. But then when he goes into his killer mode, he is terrifying. So I think that after Oppenheimer and starring in this movie, he really has cemented his return to Hollywood. In an interview talking about working with Josh Hartnett, M. Night said, "It was an amazing experience with Josh. We're very similar and we're very close. I think partly it might be in some ways that we both had early success in our 20s and then chose to live outside of Hollywood and raise our families. We also coincidentally have 3 daughters. Heartwarming stuff." Next, I wanted to read a couple of reviews that made me laugh. You can always count on people on the internet to give you some hot takes. First up, we have Karsten, who says, "You gotta wonder if M. Night Shyamalan has ever had a conversation with a human being." So I'm not really sure what he means by this, but it just is such a funny take, especially since he gives the movie a positive 4 stars. Something I think M. Night is justifiably praised for is he's one of the few big-time directors who are making their own original ideas. In a world of so much IP, which isn't necessarily bad, I think he stands out as someone who's always trying something new. And sometimes he has his misses, but sometimes you get something really good and original. Next, we have Justin Waugh, who says, "The actual Trap was me sitting through this entire movie." These are the kind of over-the-top negative reviews that just will get a laugh out of me every single time. And imagining someone trapped in the movie theater having to watch this movie. I mean, I've been there with other movies. Not this one for me personally, but I can understand the feeling. And then finally, we have this review by Astro, who says, "This movie accurately displays the scariest human behavior, dads using slang." And it's true. I don't know if I can think of too many things that are more terrorizing than a dad trying to act hip in front of his kids. I can't wait to terrorize my own kids one day with this. All right, now that we've had a few laughs, let's take a look and talk about the atmosphere of the pop concert. In our first review of this segment, Reese had this to say about a showing where M. Night Shyamalan was present. Before the movie, M. Night came out on stage and shared that he came up with this entire movie solely to give his singer daughter her very own concert film. He then proceeded to spend 30 minutes individually thanking a multitude of crew members by name, the entire cast and supporting cast, even actors with legit 2 lines, and told all aspiring filmmakers in the crowd to follow their dreams. M. Night, the man you are. And yes, the movie is thrilling, but mostly so silly and fun. See it with friends and get ice cream after. Some have criticized this as kind of a Nepo baby type thing, but I think Saleka Shyamalan as the pop star personally works for me. I could believe that teenagers would be really invested in her music and what's going on. The songs were somewhat forgettable, but yeah, I felt like I was at a pop concert watching the movie. You even get a cameo from rapper Russ, and then another cameo from Kid Cudi, who delivers some of the funniest lines in the movie, even though he's only in it for about 2 minutes. It's just a really fun time at the concert. Next, Ram says in his review, American Psycho, Taylor's version. When I was watching the trailer, it definitely gave off Taylor Swift vibes. And although the concert wasn't as grand and huge as something like the Eras tour, I think it was pulled off really well. And the fact that they chose to use actual extras to fill their stadium instead of just CGIing them in really made it feel authentic. The lighting, the different songs, even the vendors outside of the main arena, all just felt so real, and it was a lot of fun seeing a classic thriller in that setting. Now, let's finish things by talking a little bit about the pacing and suspense in this movie. Before we talk and dive into kind of some of the pacing issues that I agree this film had, let's read this review by Chris Parker. Chris says, "Trap had me hooked, and then it didn't. Josh Hartnett is phenomenal in the role and worked watching just for him. When the movie is locked into its premise of a serial killer let loose at a concert, it's dang good. However, what begins as thrilling and entertaining slowly turns into a silly mess. The third act takes all sorts of left turns that really bring the film down. Not just that, but it's accompanied by some real poor acting and bad dialogue. It's still enjoyable, but it's a few odd plot points away from greatness." I agree with the criticism of the third act of the movie feeling slowed down. I could certainly feel a lull in the action when they left the concert arena with Lady Raven. And even though a lot of the premise of this story is kind of not based in reality, the fact that this pop star is so intent on chasing down this serial killer that where she would put herself in really dangerous and vulnerable situations was a little much. Even with all the crazy cat and mouse and, Cooper getting caught and released and all this kind of unbelievable stuff, the scene where he comes back to the house with his wife there alone is utterly chilling and thrilling. As soon as he comes in with his butcher knife, I was glued to the screen. I didn't know if at any moment he was going to take it and just start hacking away, and I was feeling so anxious. Instead, he calmly removes his shirt and proceeds to have this really chilling dialogue about the rage that he feels and what he's going to do. And Josh Hartnett is just totally unhinged in a very scary, kind of calm way. I was hooked. So even though there was definitely a third act dip, this scene brought me back and had me hooked at the end of the movie. In conclusion, Trap is a really fun movie that you shouldn't take too literally or seriously. I had a great time watching it, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 on the Mountain Meter. Thank you for watching my review. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you do like these type of reviews, please consider subscribing. I have a goal of trying to get to 50 subscribers by the end of next month. So if you could help me reach that goal, I would really appreciate it. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.
That my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety filling up every space, no privacy.